Imagine there was a medicine that would help your organization to enhance performance, attract the best employees, reduce the cost of staff turnover, enhance your organization's reputation, improve your insights into target markets, minimize legal risks, and satisfy investor requirements. If there was such a magic pill, would you prescribe it to your organization? It seems there is such a medicine. The business case for gender equality in the workplace is now stronger than ever. In 2019, ILO research based on 30,000 surveyed enterprises across the globe found that enterprises with equal employment policies and gender-inclusive cultures are over 60% more likely to have improved profits and productivity and to experience enhanced reputation, greater ease in attracting and retaining talents, and greater creativity and innovation. Of the companies that track the impact of gender diversity in management, 74% report profit increases of 5 to 20%. ILO is not the only organization having come to these conclusions. Research by the international management consulting firm McKinsey found that more diverse firms are 25% more likely to outperform less diverse firms. The investment firm Waterhaven Capital reviewed the performance of companies in its portfolio and found that companies with a higher percentage of women in management had better stock and market performance. And the list goes on. Companies around the world are acting on these findings and are taking the gender equality medicine. In 2021, the Norwegian bank DNB was named the best performing company in relation to 19 gender equality criteria by Equileap. Better known firms like L'Oreal, General Motors and Diageo are also among the top 10. These firms have reduced gender gaps in different levels of management and the workforce, in the boardroom, and put in place policies to reduce pay gaps and protect employees from sexual harassment. The medicine also works for smaller firms. Marina, a small producer of women's wear in Peru, is among the companies that have joined ILO score training and is championing gender equality inside and outside the company. If the benefits of gender equality are so obvious, how come it is still so scarce in many workplaces? To advance equal opportunities in the workplace, we need to understand the root causes of gender inequalities and why they persist. One key factor is gender norms in society. Gender norms were also used for centuries to justify limiting or barring women's access to the labor market and certain jobs, and in many societies still are. They also assign domestic and care responsibilities primarily to women, which limits how much time they can dedicate to their careers. Gender norms also apply to men. In many societies, they are expected to be the main breadwinner and suffer from stress and stigma if they cannot live up to that role. Research published in the Harvard Business Review finds that men are penalized for straying from masculine stereotypes, for example, when they request leave to take care of family. Centuries of practiced gender norms and the legacy of women's exclusion and discrimination in labor markets are still visible in today's workplaces. For example, in the European Union, women occupy less than 20% of telecommunication jobs, while in India, only 10% of construction jobs are taken by women. In the US, less than 10% of nurses and less than 20% of elementary school teachers or social workers are men. Despite progress in most regions, women remain particularly underrepresented in management and leadership. In North America and Asia Pacific, their share in management positions has reached almost 40%, but they only hold around 20% of managerial positions in Latin America and Africa, and around 10% in the Middle East. If we look at what kind of management positions women occupy, we realize we find them more often in middle management and management support functions, such as HR. At the CEO level, close to 80% of managers are men. The composition of the workforce, and in particularly underrepresentation of women in decision-making roles, shapes the working environment in industries and enterprises. It starts by supposedly trivial things, like the fact that recommended average office temperatures are too low for women, and it goes all the way to decisions about how much a person takes home and who is deemed to possess leadership qualities and who is not. To improve the situation, women have been told to lean in, to be more assertive, get an additional degree, get more industry experience, find a mentor, join an empowerment group, etc. This might all be well-meaning advice, but all these ideas imply that women are not good enough yet and that they have to do more or change. We developed this course based on the belief that that there's nothing wrong with women. We believe it is workplaces that need to change and adapt. And in this course, we will show you how. We also believe that men have a lot to gain from gender equality. For example, more time for family or opportunities to pursue careers that are perhaps less aligned with gender norms. Equality in the workplace has many aspects to it, and we are going to look at it in a holistic manner. We have 8 sessions, and in session 1 you're just watching, we have presented to you the business case, talked about social norms and how they impact the workplace. Over the next sessions, we will explore 6 spheres of action. In session 2, we discuss what you can do to ensure voices of women and men are equally heard, whether it is in leadership, teams or meetings. In session 3, we introduce inclusive hiring, and in session 4, the gender pay gap. In session 5, we help you to assess your work climate and what you can do to particularly address sexual harassment in the workplace. In session 6, we look at occupational safety and health through a gender lens, while in session 7, flexible work, employer-supported childcare and parental leave are on the topic. In session 8, we tell you how you can take effective action and make gender equality an organizational priority. In all those sessions, we will hear from topic experts and business leaders on what concrete actions organizations can take, and I would like to thank them all for the contributions to this course. At this point, we would also like to acknowledge that gender equality extends beyond binary identification as women or men, and we try to consider that. Equally, diversity includes other dimensions beyond gender identity, such as race, physical abilities, age, sexual orientation, and religion, though in this course we focus primarily on gender. Encouragingly, we see considerable efforts by enterprises to reap the benefits of more equal opportunities for women and men across countries in all regions. If you are watching this video, you might be one of them. Given the changing nature of work, as well as current and future skills shortages, it is imperative for your organization to make a strategic choice to develop your organizations into workplaces where talented women and men want to be and create the enabling conditions that lead to success. So let's get started.